Hello.
Hi.
Happy Friday to everyone. Hello. Say hello, everybody.
Hello.
Why are you so short? Stand up straight. You're short enough. Stand up straight. Thank you for spending your Friday evening with us, at least just a part
Mhm.
of your Friday evening. How was your day today?
Good.
What did you do?
I bought lunch at school.
You bought lunch. Now, Samantha doesn't buy lunch at school very often,
No.
but today was like a special day. You said they had something very special, right?
Mhm.
But what? Can you tell us what it is, or
turkey and cheese sub.
what?
Turkey and cheese sub. I really like it. They took it off the menu when I was the end of first grade, beginning of second grade.
Why?
I don't know why. I think
'Cause
they
you're the only
wanted
one
to
that-
have like the kid junk food stuff like that.
Oh, and turkey and cheese sub is like a healthy option?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And so they took it away, and today they had it again. So I was very excited.
Awesome. All right, what else do you want to tell people? What type of pizza do we have tonight? And why did we have it?
Anchovy pizza.
Well, you didn't have any
I didn't have
anchovies on your pizza. I got to order an anchovy pizza tonight because it's technically my birthday weekend, so I get to pick what I want to eat. Because normally I'm not even allowed to order it because this one and her mother, they don't even want to smell it. But I ordered it tonight and I ate it and it was delicious. And what did you have?
The white pizza.
And what does that have on it?
Chicken, tomatoes, onions, cheese.
Make some garlic.
Right? Garlic.
All right. If you have any questions, start submitting them. If you have a couple questions for this one too, who I just like to torture. Would you like? Here's the special drink of the evening. Would you like some?
No, thank you.
No, thank you. All right. I'm going to explain this though. This was a Christmas gift from T-Bone. Okay. This is some whiskey that's made from the corn at the Field of Dreams in Iowa. Right? Wow. Now, you watched that movie with me. Did you like it?
Yes.
Yes. It's a good movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is from the actual corn. Want to smell it?
Sure. Smell it.
Smells good, but if you took a sip, your head would pop off. Right?
I don't want to take anything.
But we just have a little bit. We never have too much, right? Because what happens when you have too much? You fall down and piss your pants?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Was it just anchovies or added toppings? No, it was just cheese and anchovies. I like to keep it simple. I'm a pretty simple guy when it comes to pizza. I like 1 or 2 toppings max. I've always wondered how was the entire WBNS building vibe when the feds came from Mike Davis. We weren't in the 10 TV building at that time. We had our own facility. I assume it was not good. He's not discussed a lot, nor should you discuss pedophiles at work. See, people are saying hello to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is Jen in here yet? Jen said she had. Did you see her?
Yeah.
Oh, there she is. Jen said she was going out with some friends after work, and she may be a little late. But this shirt that I'm wearing today was another gift. See, I got my whiskey gift, right? Hello. And this shirt that I'm wearing was a gift from Jen. So I'm all gifted out today.
Gifted. To be determined.
What are you doing? Don't take my hat off. Do you know what is this on this hat? You know what it is? I've told you before. Do you remember?
I forget.
This is the Chicago flag.
Oh, I knew it was something had to do with Chicago.
Yes. All right. Anything else you want to say before you get out of here?
Not really, no.
Okay, well, just say hello and goodbye to everybody.
All right. Oh, wait.
What?
That's what I'm saying.
What are you saying? Oh, hi, Samantha. Mrs. Gearhart says hi.
That's what I was talking about. The whole thing.
Mrs. Gearhart works in your school?
Mm-hmm.
And what grade does she teach?
5th grade. She's a friend of Miss Birch's because she used to teach 5th grade. But
Miss Birch used to teach 5th grade?
The second year of 2nd grade.
All right. So do you hope you have Mrs. Gearhart for 5th grade?
Yes.
Yeah, she seems very nice. Well, hello, Miss. Is it Miss Gearhart or Mrs. Gearhart? Mrs. Gearhart. Okay. All right. Well, hello to you, and thank you for tuning in. Samantha always says wonderful things about you. What book are you reading right now?
I'm reading the Humphrey books. My friends really like them, and we even have like a little paper class hamster. That's Humphrey, and they take turns.
Humphrey's a hamster?
Yeah, it's a hamster.
Okay.
And there are actually real pictures of him.
What do you mean the real pictures of him? There's not drawings?
And some pictures, but they are drawings. The hamsters look real in the books.
Okay, but you also like reading
Babysitter's Club.
Babysitter's Clubs. Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right.
I'll see you in a little bit.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
And see you later.
See you later.
I'll close this.
Thank you. All right. Thank you for everybody for coming tonight. Cheers to you. Thanks for listening. If you listen to the show today, thank you for listening to the show today. Because I got to tell you, shows like that are mentally exhausting. You wouldn't think that they are, but they are. Because you're just trying to coordinate a million different things. And even though I'm sitting there and I'm talking to Craig Krenzel, which I've done 18 million times, it's a different sort of vibe to have a third person in there and you're sort of having conversation, but it's also an interview sort of situation. Meanwhile, I'm thinking in my head, I hope these idiots don't choke on bread coming up in a few minutes, because if they do, that's going to be my fault because I thought of this stupid thing. But thank you to Tyvis and Bodie and Jen and everybody for putting up with my shenanigans today. I hope it was mildly entertaining. I use Samantha to shame my kids into reading more. Told them how she's already read 150 chapter books. Yes, actually, I undersold her. I think she's up to like 178 or something like that. She loves to read. And she's going to come to work with me on Monday. Monday is MLK Day. She has no school. And her mother is sort of stressed out and said, "Get this kid away from me." No, she didn't say that. But I'm going to spend the day with her. And then since I'm just doing the 1 hour from 1 to 2, we'll pop in. And I'm sure she'll get on the microphone at some point. But she's never really been there for an actual show. So she's looking forward to that. And hopefully we are getting ready for a Buckeye title win. What did it cost you this past year for her reading? It was a lot of money, but we also utilized the Dublin Library a lot. It's a great library. They do a great job stocking books. We go every week to get books for her. I did think Bodie was going to choke. I was nervous about that. So if he didn't stop himself at 6, I was going to stop him at 6 because he was ready to die. And I don't know if you could tell when you were watching too, like he was really stretching his mouth open. Like he's going to be sore tomorrow. Have you tried Villanova's taco pizza yet? No, I have not. Cool that Samantha's going into work. Appreciate the insight you gave my son Carter on our podcast. He got his notebook. Awesome. Yes, tell Carter that for a 10-year-old, he's already doing a fantastic job. And I was saying that what I like to do, just to sort of remember things, because a lot of what I do is just casual, stupid observation or quick thoughts, and I forget them because I'm a forgetful person. I carry around a little notebook with me, and I'll jot down annoyances or jokes or observations, something, just so I can remember that. So and it's actually, you know what, too? Even if you're not doing a radio show, it's not bad for therapy. You know, if you have a grievance and you write it down, I feel like sometimes that grievance is lessened. Maybe it's just me. Why do Rothman and I seemingly ignore the YouTube chat during the show? I don't know. I don't know what makes them comfortable, uncomfortable. I know that different shows have different priorities. I remember when did that Schefter? There was some sort of problem with Schefter, right? He said something about Dwayne Haskins, right? Schefter did, and there was a big hubbub about Schefter, and there were a lot of people because he does a weekly hit with Rothman and Ice. There was a lot of people that didn't want to have him on anymore, and Anthony was sort of going back and forth, like, what do I do? Do I have him on? Do I have him on to explain himself? Do I cut him loose? And I said to him, I said, well, because he said, what would you do if it were your show? And I said, well, if it were my show, I would actually ask the audience. I would go on the air and say, what do you guys want me to do? And he was sort of taken aback by that. Like, you ask the audience? Yes. That's why, like, when we do a new segment or something like that, if a lot of you tell me that it sucks, then we don't do it anymore. Because ultimately, we're here to try and serve as many people as we possibly can, get as many ears as we possibly can. And so if enough people tell you, I don't like this, then why would you shove it down their throat? It makes no sense to me. So everybody's different with the way they handle their show. I don't think it's intentional that they ignore YouTube. I just don't think they're used to checking on it. They're sort of in their own world, and that's how they do their show. Have you been to the Del Taco yet? Is it open? The last time I drove past it on 23, it wasn't open yet. You guys need to get Bo a better studio for his house. Looks like a hostage situation on the YouTube feed. Not my call. I agree with you. I mean, if it were my call, Bo would be in here with the rest of us, and that's not, I hold nothing against Bo. Bo lives in Cleveland, right? I'm just saying if I could magically transport him and his family down here, I'd love to, because I like Bo a lot. And I think he's really good. And I think that if his show is like a 95 right now out of a score of 100, if he were down here in the studio, like full time with Reeser, with Baker, it would be 100. There's a little bit of a natural limitation when you're doing a remote show. That chemistry is a little bit more difficult. Home run in, going to the oven. Good job. You know what pisses me off? Home Run In used to sell frozen pizzas on their website. Maybe you're saying, well, why would you buy it on their website and have it shipped to you when you can go to the Kroger and it's just there in the frozen section? I will tell you why. Because they sell a product that they only sell in Chicago in the grocery stores called Nothing But the Crust. Okay? And what it is looks like a box of frozen pizza. You take it out, it is just the crust. You add your own cheese, sauce, toppings, and it was a fantastic shortcut if you didn't want to make your own pizza dough. It had a very unique taste, fantastic. And they didn't sell it here, but they used to ship it from their website, and then they stopped shipping it. And I sent them an email saying, you've ruined my life. Thank you very much. Hello, Basement Man. Hello, Meta. You guys desperately need an animal expert on speed dial. I was on the zoo show. I can be that person. Is the zoo they're not filming at the zoo anymore? First of all, I want an invitation. All right. I watch the zoo show. Okay. I want to be on the zoo show. I want to go on the tour. I don't want to scoop up shit, but I want to be there because I love that show. I want to cuddle the cheetah babies. Oh, also, I forgot to mention our fantastic sponsor, the Lion's Den. And a while back, they brought me a bunch of gifts to the studio, and Jen Winters gave them to me on the air. No joke. I brought them home. I showed all of them to Kristen. Like, we looked at all of them. She took them, and then I've never seen them again. So either she's using them and enjoying, or she's got another dude coming over and she's using them with him. Because I have no idea where they are. She took them away and they're gone. So go see my friends at the Lion's Den. Valentine's Day is coming. And even if you're just by yourself, they can handle that too. No more filming, thank God. I'm your in. I used to raise the cheetah. I used to raise the cheetah babies. All right, you send me an email or something. I want a tour because I got my pass. I've got my yearly pass. All right, I live right down the street from the zoo. I can be there in 5 minutes if you want me to. I'll help you with the cheetah babies. I ate a sausage, egg, cheese McMuffin combo and steak, egg, cheese bagel for breakfast today. It was glorious. Did you know, well, the McDonald's that I was at not too long ago, they had like another breakfast sandwich where they essentially just put like all the meats on there, bacon, sausage, and steak on one sandwich. Has anybody tried that? I was too scared. And I wasn't scared. I was with Kristen and she said, "You're not having that." Okay, I'm scared of her. A couple shows back, and I feel like it's important to talk about this because I made the joke the other day that next week, the third week of January, is the biggest week for suicide in the United States of America. And it's sort of a, like, haha, don't kill yourself. But it's also a, seriously, don't kill yourself. As someone who has struggled with severe depression, someone who is medicated and will be for the rest of my life, I want to make sure that you're okay. Because I think that you need to know that I care about you. I do this. How many people are in here? 103? All right. I know some of you. I don't know most of you, right? I don't get paid any money for doing this, right? I like doing this. This is not part of my job description, but I like finding ways to connect with you guys. Because I know some of you, because I hear from you, you need it. You need the connection. And sometimes I'm like you. I need that connection, right? I told you a couple shows ago to write down on a piece of paper. Your homework was write down the names of everybody in your life that you feel like you can be vulnerable with. All right, now it's 2025, and I want you to look at that piece of paper. Maybe there's one name on it, maybe there's 10 names on it, right? But I want you, if you're struggling, if you're sad, I want you to get in touch with one name on that list and ask them if they'd be willing to be your wellness partner, right? What does that mean? It's kind of like AA, right? Where you have a sponsor that you can talk to if you're struggling. But really what it is it's just someone to make sure you're doing all right, right? And if you have something on your mind that you need to talk about, that person's willing to listen. I'm not saying that person has to give you advice, because that's actually one thing that pisses me off a lot, is when you lay out a problem for somebody and they try and fix it for you. That's not what most people need. What most people need is just someone to be there, to hear them, to validate them, and just sort of let them know, like, yeah, man, that sucks. If you want to talk about it, I'm here for you. I don't have any answers, right? That's what I say to people. I said this to somebody at work not too long ago who I knew was struggling with something. I said, if you ever want to talk, I may not have any solutions for you, but I'm a good listener. And sometimes that's all people need. I also urge you, and you know what you need, right? Sometimes we put it off and we say it'll get better. Well, I'm just feeling this way because it's cloudy and cold and I'll be fine. right? Once the spring comes around, I'll be fine once I get a girlfriend or a boyfriend, but you don't have to wait for that. You be your own advocate, be proactive, all right? Because I was talking to Samantha the other day, and she was saying that she learned about Vincent van Gogh in school. And I said, "Oh, awesome. What did you learn about Vincent van Gogh?" And she talked about some paintings, right? And I said, "Did you talk about him chopping off his ear?" No. Why not? That's a pretty big aspect of Vincent van Gogh, isn't it? And then we started talking. Well, why did he chop off his ear? Well, he chopped off his ear because the woman that he loved didn't love him back. So he was so sad he decided to chop off his ear. You know, and I always just like to, I don't like to sugarcoat things. All right. You can say things in a certain way that an 8-year-old understands you. But then we went on Wikipedia and we read some more about Vincent van Gogh and we looked at some of his paintings. And she happened to notice where it said cause of death, suicide by gunshot. And we talked about that some people get so sad, the only way they feel like they can get out is to end it. And I told her, I said, that is never acceptable, ever. And this is why you talk to me, you talk to mom, right? Being sad is okay, but harming yourself is never the answer. So if you guys feel yourself trapped, just know that you're not. There's a way out for everybody. There's a way to cope with it. I'm not saying you're going to be turning cartwheels because I'm not, right? But there's a way to cope with it. I don't usually have these big, long speeches for you because I don't want to bring down the mood. But I feel like this time of year, it's important to talk about. So if you find yourself in that situation, by the way, you can reach out to me if you want, and I'll try and point you in the right direction. I'm not an expert by any means, but I do have a platform and I want to try and normalize mental health as much as I possibly can. So that's your job. Contact somebody on your list, ask them to be your wellness compadre. That's all. I wouldn't be here without the VA in Chillicothe. Damn right, man. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Nothing. You know, this macho bullshit. I can't stand it. You know, it takes strength to express yourself, to be vulnerable. That's strength, not the opposite. Not pushing it inside. That's bullshit. Don't let anybody tell you different. Maybe Common Man should write a book. No. This is what I like to do. And I just want to tell you, this is from one asshole to another. Because I'm telling you, I don't have any answers for you. I just know that like chopping your ear off or harming yourself, worse than that, not the answer. That I can tell you. Did you ever think during your senior hurler days you would have the success you have today? I don't know. What is success, right? When I first started doing this, I thought, because really the progression is like you stay at a job for a couple of years, you go, move on to another job. You eventually get to like host a national syndicated show. And that's the platform. And then I realized along the way that I didn't want to do that. I dipped my toe into the syndicated stuff. I did some ESPN radio and I had offers to do more and I didn't like it. It wasn't my bag. I had offers to move to bigger markets. Didn't want to. And who knows? Maybe I would have gone there. Maybe it was ultimately self-serving because I would have gone there and failed. I don't know. But I had no interest. No interest. You know, maybe 10, 15 years ago, I would have considered going back to Chicago and trying to do radio, but I had the opportunity a few years ago and it was a polite no thank you. You know, this is my home. I love it here, and I'm not going anywhere. So I guess, did I ever think that I'd be at the same radio station for 21 years? No, but here I am. I was actually texting with a buddy today, and he's also in broadcasting. And here's what I said to him. I said, I know you're aware of the passage of time because you have a grown man living in your house, but I've been at this radio station for 21 fucking years. I don't know if I should be proud or kill myself. Now, obviously, that is a joke, right? I was just talking about that. But, 99 times out of 100, I'm pretty damn proud of that. So, and I wouldn't have any of this if it weren't for you guys taking time out and sticking with me. So I appreciate it. If the Ann Arbor radio station offers you double the salary, are you going? They can't afford me. My station can barely afford me. I'm waiting to get fired. I'm waiting for the corporate people in Virginia to look at the bottom line sheet and say, who the hell is this guy? And why are we paying him this much money? Then hopefully they look at the ratings and they say, oh, that's why. But who the hell knows? We had Angela Pace fired today. Well, not fired today, but today was her last day. If she can get canned, anybody can get canned. It is a whole different world now with broadcasting and nationwide publicly traded corporations. We're not owned by the newspaper anymore. We're not owned by the Wolf family. We are owned by people who own and operate television stations that have no idea how radio works. So I am not immune to any of that. There could be a day where the principal way that you and I talk to each other is like this on YouTube. So I take nothing for granted. I know Jen did cry at work today. She was very upset about Angela. And, there were other people that lost their jobs too. It's not just, we talk about Angela because you know her, you've seen her on TV, or you've heard us talk about her, you've heard her with us. But other people lost their jobs today too. And we have a man who runs our entire operation locally here. His name is Rick. And Rick is given his orders by corporate in Virginia. But Rick is the man that has to tell these people that they have no job. And if you've ever spent 5 minutes with Rick, you know that eats him up inside, like physically. This man is in pain. He is a terrific leader because he cares deeply about the people that he leads. He told me a story once, and I don't know if he wants me to share this with you, but I will anyway. He was a general manager of a television station in another city, and he was given orders that this one position had to go. This one person had to go. And he was very upset about it. This was a single mom, right, who he just personally liked, did a fantastic job. It was nothing that she did. It was just corporate downsizing. If you don't fire this person, I will make sure somebody else does. So he said, well, it should come from me, right? So he said that she came into his office and he started to tell her the news, and she just screamed hysterically and got on the floor and started to cry. And I said, well, what did you do? And he said, I got on the floor with her. And I held her. And I just let her cry. I don't, there's not a lot of bosses that would do that. And then he actually wound up getting her another job someplace else with somebody else that he knew. But that's what type of a good man we have running our station. It's not his call. He's just trying to do the best he can under the circumstances. We're getting very deep in the basement tonight. I'm sorry. I know this is probably the not the show that most of you wanted. I'll be more inappropriate now. You are 45-ish. How old do you feel like you actually are? Depends on the day. When I hurt my back last week, 100. If you have back pain, I'll tell you, if you have a slip disc when it hits that nerve, there is nothing more debilitating. My God. I mean, it just it takes your breath away. It's so bad. Normally, I feel pretty good. I've T-Bone jokes that I've always been sort of like the curmudgeon, even when I was a younger guy, and I've always felt sort of older. I had an idea of what I wanted to do. I started working at an early age. So when you start working and you're independent at an early age, I think just naturally you feel a little bit older than your years, but I feel pretty good. Physically, aside from the back thing, I feel good. I've dropped a few pounds this past year, which helps. But I'll tell you what really helps too is, and it's always a adjustment. Is the medication helps, and sometimes that changes over time. You have to change your dosage. You have to try new things, but it's a process. And I'm looking forward to seeing this kid grow up. I know people say don't wish these years away, and I don't, but I'm also excited about watching her grow and turning into a person, young adult, having that type of relationship with her, being retired, spending time with Kristen. She's my best friend too, so I'm looking forward to that. So I'm not looking forward to the actual aging process, but going through life, yeah. Some people would do anything to get back to like college or high school. I would never go back there. I like where I am now. Traffic Nicole has established boundaries. Was there a clear line that she said? No. When Leanna left, we had a bunch of terrible, terrible traffic people, just awful. And we pay for a traffic service that is run out of Detroit. And so I said to Fish, I said, if we're going to keep traffic, we got to get somebody else. If not, let's just get rid of it because it's just too bad. It's awful. And so they hired Nicole, and we met with Nicole, and she seemed very nice. And I didn't want to make her uncomfortable in any way. So I didn't push limits necessarily with her, even though she said she would be up for it. And the few times that I have included her in things, she's engaged, right? But I also don't feel like she's jonesing for more. So I don't like to make her super uncomfortable. As much as that it may seem like I do want to make people uncomfortable, I don't. So she has her job, she does it well, and who knows what we come up with in the future. Maybe she has a bigger role, maybe she doesn't. I don't know. You used to work with Spielman. Do you still keep in touch? No, we do not. I think there was a text that I had sent him when he got the job with the Lions initially, and he responded, but that was the last real interaction that we had. No animosity, none of that. It's just life. Life changes. Life gets in the way. What's the backstory of Krenzel hitting Chris Collinsworth? Oh, I'm sorry if I didn't explain that today. I have explained it on the show before, but I'm also aware that you guys have lives and don't listen to every single minute of the show. Back when Krenzel was playing for the Bears, he was doing Sunday night. I think it was in Dallas. He was starting for the Bears Sunday night in Dallas. and Collinsworth doing the games, right, for NBC. And he's walking down, this is pregame. He's walking down the middle of the field, Collinsworth is, and Krenzel's about 40 yards away. And one of his Bears teammates says, like, I'll give you $100 if you nail Collinsworth with the ball. And so Craig's thinking to himself, I've never been so damn accurate in my life. I'm going to throw this ball, and there's no chance of me hitting him because I'm 40 yards away and he's in motion. And it's not like he's running a route. You don't know if he's going to stop or walk a different way, change direction, whatever. So Krenzel just sort of laughs it off and says, all right, I'll try. So he goes back and he throws, wouldn't you know, the most accurate pass he's ever thrown in his entire life and hits Chris Collinsworth square in the head with the football. And Collinsworth is hurt because a football hitting you in the head without any protection from 40, 50 yards away hurts. But he tried to no-sell it, like it didn't hurt him. And Krenzel was laughing, but still like sort of waited and said, I'm sorry, man. It got away from me. And, you know, he obviously felt bad that he hurt Chris Collinsworth, but also was impressed with himself that he was able to make the throw. And so, but he said karma caught up with him later in that game. He had a high ankle sprain in that game when he was playing. It was close to the end of the season. The Bears wanted to send him to NFL Europe for more seasoning. He couldn't because he had the ankle sprain. And so they cut him, and that was the end of that. Any good behind-the-scenes stories about Anthony Schlegel? I didn't work with Schlegel a lot. I mean, I've come across him in the radio station, but as far as hosting shows, I don't know if I've ever actually done it. But what you see is what you get, man. There is nothing phony about Anthony Schlegel. I'm telling you. I listened to your interview live with Obama. You've said in the past they reached out to you guys. Can you tell me what that was like for you? President Obama was running for re-election in 2012, right? Yes. He was running against Mitt Romney. And Ohio, swing state at the time. Is it still? I don't know. But we got a call from Platinum Fox, who was our sales manager at that time, saying that he had somebody at Obama's campaign reach out and inquire about coming on the show. And I think my exact words are you shitting me? Fuck no. Right? Because I initially didn't want to do it. I don't like to alienate 50% of my audience. It's not how I've done my work, but I thought about it, and we sort of put out a lot of conditions which we didn't think they would ever accept. One of the conditions was no questions asked in advance. You don't know what we're going to ask you. We're not submitting questions to you in advance, thinking that would be a complete and total non-starter. And they said, okay. And then we said, okay, well, it's going to be all sports. We're not talking about anything else. And I said, okay. We're not pointing people towards a campaign or where you can go or talking about election day, none of that. Okay. All right. So we begrudgingly agreed to do this. A couple days before the interview, we send like our contact over there an email. And it said like, hey, just so you know, if you're familiar with the show, here's some information about our hosts. And they like to say my guys. So maybe the president would say my guys when he comes on. It'll endear him to the audience. And the response we got back was, oh, he was planning on doing that anyway. He's been listening to your podcasts. Jesus Christ. This man is running the free world. and he's in my mind in the Oval Office listening to the podcast. I'm sure he wasn't. I'm sure he was like taking a shit and listening to the podcast, but we ultimately did it. I can't listen to it back now because I cringe. I cringe at myself. Not that I'm ashamed that I did it. I'm just ashamed that it wasn't better. We also extended the invitation to Mitt Romney to be fair, and he declined. But somebody asked me actually not too long ago if I would be willing to interview a sitting president now. And I don't know if I would. It's a different time. It's a different show. And I don't know. I also don't think any president would agree to those terms. No questions in advance. I ask what I want to ask. And essentially, if I don't like it, I don't air it. We also pre-taped that interview. We made it sound like it was live, but it wasn't. It was taped the day before or 2 days before. And if we didn't like the way that it turned out, we weren't going to air it. We weren't going to promote it or air it. So it's something that I'm glad I did. I just, I'm my own worst critic and I want it to be better. Did Porkchop hate the impression you do of him? I don't know. Probably. What's my favorite go-to bourbon? I like all different types. If we're talking bourbon, it's probably Blanton's Gold. But I'm much more of a Irish whiskey. I like Scotch. If I had to choose one of that type of spirit, I'd probably choose Irish whiskey. I'm a big fan. Did you know that some turtles can breathe through their ass? That's why they can survive under the ice, butt breathing. I did not know that. That's awesome. Also, Stevie Nicks can snort coke up her ass. Did you know that? Through a straw. What's your CD selection process to have a listen? Mood, genre, artist. I have, I'm the idiot that still buys and collects and worships CDs. I have a million of them, and it really depends on my mood. But, there are certain artists that are my favorite, and I go back and I listen to them more than others. And it's probably, like Pearl Jam and Stone Temple Pilots and Collective Soul. And I'm wearing a t-shirt with a long sleeve hoodie underneath it. And my wife said to me today, could you be more 1994? It's like, well, this is why like old people when we were kids wore leisure suits and shit like that and looked like Ozzie and Harriet in the nursing home, because that was the last decade they were relevant. That's what they associate with. So you're going to have a bunch of dudes, in my generation showing up at Shady Acres wearing Oasis t-shirts with hoodies underneath. We're still going to be old as shit, but that's going to be our fashion. Did you see the guy with the sign at the team send-off that just said "Live Forever"? He must have gotten Oasis tickets. I hope so. Actually, I was. We don't really interact much with the TV people, and there's a ton of people who work on the TV side. But today, because of the send-off that we had for our fired employees, we were mingling with the TV people, and one of the producers came up to me and said, "I really like your shirt." And it's a total stranger. We started talking about Oasis and how she's going to see the shows in Toronto. And that's awesome, and that's what I love about music. I don't have nothing in common, I'm sure, with this person. She looked to be a, 20, 30 something woman. I'm sure we have nothing in common. We can sit down and talk about Oasis and how they're awesome, right? And I think that's pretty cool. That's the one thing that music sort of does. Can you give a rundown of your home stereo setup for listening to your CDs? It is obnoxious. It is ridiculously overpriced. I've spent way too much money. It's obnoxious. Let's just say that. Okay. If you could go get one artist back from the dead to do one live show, who would it be? That's hard because a lot of the people I like are dead. Like Stone Temple Pilots, they're still kicking, but Scott's not kicking, and so it's not them. I'd love to go back and see them again. Tom Petty, I'd love to go and see him again. And I feel like he was still making some really fucking good music, and it's a shame, right? Who else would I bring back from the dead? I mean, I guess I'd bring the Beatles back from the dead, or at least two of them back from the dead, and take Jen to a Beatles concert with me. Were you asked to be an extra for the Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives Loops episode, or were you just there by chance? No, I was asked. There's no chance there, man. They shut the entire place down for like a whole week to film that shit. None of it's authentic. I was asked to do it. I did it. I didn't want to, but they're good guys in there. They asked me to do it, so I did. But I was not there the day that he was there. I was there the day before. Soundgarden, yes, Chris Cornell, my guy. And that's the thing too, is that Samantha likes all this stuff that I like, which is cute. I mean, she likes stuff that I don't like too, but we have like conversations because she always asks about when am I going to get a chance to go to a concert, and she's so small. And I tell her like, you don't have no idea how loud a concert is, and I can't like have you on my shoulders for the entire thing too. But she'll ask about like this band or this band, like, can we go see this band? And I'm like, well, they're dead. What about this band? No, he's dead too. And she'll, now I think she's used to it. But when I first started telling her that sort of stuff, it was like, well, were they super old? It's like, no, just had some problems. And then we talk about those problems in the way that a 7, 8-year-old can understand. But it's like, yeah, you don't realize till you go down the list how many people are dead. And it's almost like artists are tortured. That's what makes good art. Trans-Siberian Orchestra might be good for her to see. You know, I've never seen them before. They look cool. I've never seen them before, though. Cobain, yeah, we've talked about him because she likes Nirvana. Do you like the 3 to 6 time slot for the station? Yes. I'm not moving. Actually, Fish asked me not too long ago if I would ever be willing to do a different shift. And I said no, but I was curious and said, what do you have in mind? He said, I have nothing in mind. I just want to know, like, would you ever be open to doing mornings? And I think before he even got the final syllable of mornings out, I said, absolutely not. I'm not interested. I don't want to do that again. I did it earlier in my career. Morning guy is zombie guy. That's a much younger man's game. I'm not doing it unless you're Shark, then it's an older man's game. But I'm not doing it. And I told him, I said, first of all, I don't want to. Second of all, I enjoy my morning time with Samantha too much. You know, I get her up, I make her breakfast, I take her to the bus. I'm not willing to give that up. So 3 to 6 is where I'm going to be, or at least some version of that. 2 to 5, 2 to 6. I don't know. Who the hell knows? Blind Melon dead. Fish. I'm not a big fish fan. Not program director fish, banned fish, PH fish. Would you do the Buckeye postgame shows again? Absolutely not. I don't need to. And those are all network run now. Learfield, who has the Buckeye contract, they would never want me to do those shows. They don't want opinions like mine. And that's fine. That's their prerogative. But no. What is Learfield anyway? So, all right, here's what Learfield is, because it's kind of confusing. So, Ohio State and other schools got together and said, we would make more money for our broadcasting rights if we got together and sold them together to one company to then distribute and own the rights. So instead of Ohio State negotiating directly with us and Clemson, for example, negotiating with their local stations, they sold their rights. They became partners with this company called Learfield. And then Learfield takes all that shit and they go and they sell it. They sell advertising during the game. They find broadcast partners, all of that. So when you hear, Ohio State in cooperation with Learfield, I mean, that's their entity. And then we make deals with Learfield. They're our partner, but they're also a customer of ours too. So it's confusing. That just means there's more layers of things until you get to, who actually matters. But that's it. And I don't deal with them. That's Skip Mossick's job. I'm glad I don't deal with them. Favorite Beatles album, Rubber Soul. I know Jen's is Revolver, right? Too much sitar. Are you serious about doing an on-air live podcast during games like the Mannings? Yes, but I've said this for more than 15 years, probably, and it's never going to happen. And by the way, if they wanted to make it happen now, you better open up the wallet, because I've been offering this for 15 years. Mine's a toss-up between Sergeant Pepper and Abbey Road. I do like Abbey Road. Abbey Road's probably 1A. Would your live podcast be from the toilet, though? Yes. All right, about 5 more minutes. This is your 5-minute warning. Anything you want to ask? If you're new here, and you're probably not, because it's the same people that come, and that's great. I like that. Don't be shy with anything. I may see it, I may choose not to answer it, but there is no question off limits for this type of thing. That's why I do it. I had a question about CDs and stuff. Actually, I still buy CDs. They're not all new. Actually, I bought this one today. This is a Harry Connick Jr. big band album. I think Harry Connick Jr. could be one of the most interesting people on earth. This dude, first of all, is married to Jill Goodacre. Who's Jill Goodacre? You ever see the episode of Friends where Chandler is stuck in the ATM vestibule with the hottest blonde girl in the world? That's Jill Goodacre. Harry Connick Jr. is like a child prodigy on piano. He's been relevant since he was a kid. Jazz. He can play every instrument. He can sing like Sinatra can sing. He can arrange things. He put out a couple funk albums, which I also think are pretty good. Oh, by the way, he was like in Independence Day, and he's been a working actor for 30 years. And he does whatever the hell he wants to do. And I just think you may not like the style of music, and that's cool. I get it. But he is one of the most interesting guys, I think, on earth. You think Cobain actually killed himself? Yes. Don't be that guy. Don't be Aaron Rodgers. All those conspiracy theories about like, well, actually, if you look at how much heroin was in his blood, it would have been impossible for him to pull the trigger. There are explanations for that from people who actually examine bodies for a living. So stop. Yes, he killed himself. Shara, Shara, am I saying your name right? She loves Harry Connick Jr. You're awesome. Gave him a tour at the zoo. Let me tell you something, dude. I don't know who you are, dude. Mushroom Noose. You're giving Harry Connick tours at the zoo. You got the cheetah babies. Why am I not there? I'm actually legitimately pissed off right now. You better send me an email or something. You owe me a cheetah and a crooner. Shit. All right. One more. Where'd the name Common Man come from? It was given to me by Torg, who, if you don't know, by the way, I don't assume that all of you do, because that was a long time ago. I used to do a show with a guy named Scott Torgerson, name is Torg, and he would call me the Common Man in jest, because in his mind, I was the last thing from a common man. It's like, you don't cut your own lawn, dude. It's like, no, I don't. You cook all the food in your house, dude. Yes, I do. You're just a regular common man. So it stuck. It was fun. What am I going to do? Mike Riccardotti for the rest of my life? That's stupid. You know, I always wanted to sort of morph into, I mean, I'm still Mike, right? But it's easier to say, hey, did you listen to Common Man today? Than, hey, did you listen to Rickard Doofus or whatever? So that's where it came from. Dude, used to hang out with Tori. I don't see him too often, but I talk with him. Yeah. Rickard Doofus. Actually, my nickname when I was in elementary school was Pick a Snotty. Instead of Riccardotti, it was Pick a Snotty. So I still have some people in my life that will call me Pick a Snotty, which I do approve of. Thank you for tuning in. Best to all of you in this new year. And I hope that on Monday evening, we can all cheers to a Buckeye victory. If not, well, then we'll have one hell of a basement show maybe next week for us all to decompress or decompose, whatever. So best to you. And this stream is brought to you to my good friend, Angela Pace, who is somewhere at the VFW right now, half drunk. I wish I could be there with you. Have a great weekend.